and welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. I'm your host, Kamaria Richmond, and I have a great show for you today. We are talking to Qua Charmant, and she is an artist. We are talking to Qua the Artist. So welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show.
Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. So let's start with, what type of artist are you?
Well, when I think about art, the genres are, I guess for myself, a little vague. I enjoy creating around wellness, and that's the largest influence. And so a lot of my, whether it's a poem or a song or a short clip type of thing, short film.
When did you become an artist? At what age did you say, you know what, this is what really gets me, you know, this makes my soul move?
I noticed my artistic habits when I was in middle school, around this time. It's when I became more expressive. But I always had a knack for creating, or I guess I was a little rebellious, so I like to recreate things when I was younger.
And how would you describe your work?
People usually gravitate to it for relaxation, for a more calming effect, or even something that makes you feel like you want to move or dance or just be aware of where you are. Okay,
so what do you use?
I use a lot of, I like instruments. I play the djembe and a little bit of the keyboard. I also use, I use different forms of writing as well. So I also utilize the things around me within the community, because I enjoy being able to, I guess, share this expressionism, get other people to do it as well.
And that's interesting. That kind of explain that. Share the expressionism.
Well, oftentimes people don't have outlets, or they don't exercise their outlets, and so I try to create accessibility for that in different avenues of expressionism, because at times it may seem like it has to be a certain way, or it may seem, I guess it's no real definition to the things that you do create. And so, yeah.
Now, are you performing?
I do perform.
Okay, where do you perform?
In the DC area, as well as Maryland. Okay. But a lot of local venues. I host open mics at restaurants and other events. We have one coming up in Southeast DC. It's a neo-soul experience.
Explain that.
So that'll be February 23rd. It's a midday to evening gathering. We'll have a house band and nutritional soul food, as well as visual art and other performers. And so it'll be a space for people to gather and network, as well as experience live music and entertainment.
That's always good, always good. And what about, where did the love for art and expression, where did that come from?
Well, a lot of the times, usually when I'm by myself, in silence, I can find different melodies, or different things come to me when I allow myself to be open. And sometimes I'll listen to different rhythms or beats, and I'll kind of allow the words to create their own experiences. So when I learned that I could do that through words is when I grew a deeper attachment to it. So that's when I kind of found out that it's something that I enjoyed, that I love to do.
Okay, is this more spiritual for you, what you do?
It feels, most times it feels that way because it's not always on demand. So most times, or there'll be times when I create things and they'll make more sense months or years later. And so it can be kind of hard to explain, but if you look at it from a more spiritual aspect, it can also be messages, you know.
Okay, so you do, as I say, spoken word, and you sing, and you paint, and
A little.
a little.
I paint a little bit, I do. Abstract and landscape are the things that I paint, really. But I enjoy that, and adding creativity to wellness as well, I was saying.
I want to ask you about that. So explain what you mean exactly when you say the creativity and the wellness.
Well, I believe that everyone should have accessibility to creativity, and I believe that when you nurture your wellness, you can do that in different ways. So, I mean, I guess people are a little different along the lines. Some are more left brain thinkers and some are more right brain thinkers. So you can get creative in different ways. But I think it's important to remember the environment that you put yourself in, and having a self-awareness so that you know why you're doing certain things that you do. And having a control over the physical body as much as possible, so that whenever you feel good in your body, it allows you to create things, or to tap into things that make you feel good as well. So that's why a lot of my music is more calming, relaxing, and it brings people back to the present, and it brings them back to allowing themselves to feel where they are.
Okay, so more wellness and mindfulness and meditation and all of that. How about along those lines, can you give us some wellness do's and don'ts so that we're always in that state of mind, that calm, peaceful state of mind?
For sure. It's certainly a challenge, like most things that we go through daily. It is an active practice, and there are certain things that I enjoy doing that that keep me more balanced than not. So initially, and I've heard this in a lot of different platforms, but when you first wake up, setting the tone for your day by doing things that are going to give you stability so that the things that you run into won't affect you so harshly. So I try to do that in the beginning of the day, every day. Well, I do. So through drinking at least like a cup of water. If it's warm lemon water, that's great because it helps to, break up any sort of congestion, and it helps to maintain. And a lot of things about wellness also is just maintaining,
right,
and the consistency. So when I wake up, I try to also notice my breathing and show gratitude for where I am. And I also, that could come with yoga or some stretching or running if the time permits, but I at least like to take that moment to just acknowledge where I am. Also, I try not to think about things that are too overwhelming as well, also, like in the beginning of a day, because there's always so many things that's going on around us that we're a part of, or we want to be a part of, or things that we used to be a part of that are still trying to present themselves. So I really aim to stay focused when it comes to that as well.
Okay, and you read 2 pieces for us. Mm-hmm. Tell us about those.
So the 2 pieces I read, the first one is No, and it's a haiku, and it represents being present. So the first line, this time I just knew. I knew I could be enough, but knew doesn't know. And so a lot of times people will get excited and they'll be like, oh, I knew it. Mm-hmm. Or there'll just be an instance where they're harping on something that's slightly more attached to the past than what's currently. And because of that, they may miss the whole message, because it's important to remain teachable as well.
Absolutely.
And so allowing yourself to know that you don't know everything, because learning is exciting. It's exciting for me, and that's also something that I feel helps to keep me balanced and well, because knowledge is power.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now you were going to read maybe 2 or 3 more poems. Did you decide on what you wanted to read?
Well, I have this one I could share. It's a little long, so I guess we can see what happens.
Yep, we have some time.
Okay. I'll talk more about it after, I guess.
Okay.
Because when he sits in silence, he's on the battlefield. You told me I was your firefly, but that cool summer night, symphonized by crickets and breezed with resilience, mutated into a forest fire. And that firefly became an ember, an ash, almost resistant to gravity. Effortlessly, the aftermath. And now I am the wounded warrior, martyred forefront, distant yet instant. This seems to be real life from the past because I thought I knew you before I really felt you. And now that I feel you, I know that I never knew you. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And no, you think what I did was wrong. You think I don't know what I did. You believe I don't own my faults. You just know I have an attitude with you, and you know that I hold anger. I'm contentious, manipulative, evil, immature, selfish, volatile, violent, spoiled, little brat. You just know that I'm crazy. You think the love is lost. And you ask me if it ever existed. So I know the love is lost. And P.S. I hope it's raining where you are. And oh, I threw your keys over the key bridge, baby, and let your burdens weigh them down. And then my heart was free again. Because when you had nothing, I was there. Shirt tattered, expression bare. My heart was a magnet to your pain. A quite treacherous feat later proclaimed. Aim, focus, shot. Because you said the last time was the last time.
Very nice. I can't snap like I used to. Very nice. So tell us about that.
This piece I wrote in many pieces. The name of it, I guess it could be Battlefield. Mm-hmm. It's I wrote it going through a transition in my life, and at the time, like I maybe wrote 3 or 4 verses, and then I would leave it alone, and I would come back to it. And by the end of the poem, I had all these papers, and I was like, I have to put them together and make sense of it. But it was an experience that I had, and it was my first time translating it into a spoken word. So this was one of my first longer spoken words, and I was in a poetry contest time, maybe 6 months ago, and this was the poem that excelled me to the next round. So that was exciting, and this one, along with others, will hopefully be published soon as a poetry book.
I wanted to ask you about that, if you were thinking about publishing and where you were on the process, if so.
Yes, I have a good amount of poems now. I've never thought that I would have a poetry book that I'd be publishing, so it kind of took a while to make the decision that that'd be happening, but that, along with some of the sound projects that I have as well, those are published and they would be surfacing soon.
Okay, tell us about some of the projects that you have coming up.
Yes, I know I do many things within the community, and so I have a project that will be releasing in February. It's about a 5-song sound project. It has a couple poems on there, but they're very dramatic. They have the live instruments, and I look forward to releasing that one soon. That one's like it'll be like on my social media and all the platforms and things like that. But that's the first one, and I already have the second one that'll be released during the summer, and that one's a little closer to 13 songs as of now. It could be more.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of the writing, it comes every day, and so I really have to balance out, okay, when am I performing, or versus when am I writing, or when am I going to the studio, or when am I, finding other musicians to feature or other people to feature. So it is pretty time consuming.
Now, where can people find you on social media, or how can folks find you and listen?
Right now, you can access my Instagram for all of the events that I have coming up. I also have a video that I released on YouTube, and the link for that is on my Instagram as well. So I could share the handle, or
oh yeah, go ahead.
So the Instagram is Mas Vida, and that's MAS with 2 underscores, VIDA. It's more life. It's also a part of, the motto.
The motto. Tell us about the motto.
Well, so I enjoy when I can bring like excitement and life to other people, their environment. So more life is an extension of that wellness, and like the full circle of balance.
Okay, so it's all about balance and wellness, and I have to tell you, I went on YouTube and I played your song.
Oh, nice.
You get like 2 videos, I believe.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
or maybe it's just one long video.
No, actually, yeah, there should be 2.
Okay.
There's one that's kind of like a freestyle, and I meshed it with an Erykah Badu song.
Yes,
That's
yes,
really nice.
I like that.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I made that when I was at my old job. I was in the back washing dishes, and I began to download the freestyle, and I was so pleased with it and how raw it was. So I just recreated it to a video of it.
So folks can find you on Instagram, about Facebook or Twitter or any other social media sites?
The most active is Instagram and YouTube. I have a Facebook. Some of my events go in there, but it's more like the family base. Facebook, so yes.
And what would you like for folks to know? We have about a minute. The essence of Qua. What would you like folks to know?
The essence of Qua. Because people ask me what my name means all the time. So, the essence of Qua is the essence of oneness, and it's the essence of trusting the journey. My partner and I speak about that a lot, and he's been very helpful throughout this process. But I want people to allow themselves the time to listen to themselves and just to honor themselves. Like, I choose to honor myself by providing something that you could honor, or that could mean something to you as well.
Wow,
So,
that's beautiful.
yeah.
That's beautifully said.
Thank you.
Mas Vida
Yes, on Instagram.
Instagram. So we have to check you out there, check you out on YouTube. And
Most
I
definitely.
wish you the best. I know that only good things are happening and coming and blessing and flowing your way. You're very talented. So thank you for being on the award-winning Ed Brown Show.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much again for having me.
Thank you. And you know what? We'll see you next time.
This time, I just knew. I knew I could be enough. But knew doesn't know. Trust yourself. Away isn't too far away. Just a perception away. Trust isn't too far away. Just a perception away. And acceptance, it isn't too far away. Only your trust away. So trust yourself away, far away, into an accepting perception.